Hello Stamper, welcome to Frenchie's video. I'm Frances Martin, independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and today I'm going to share with you how to do a collage or a scenery, and it's using a few stamp set. So I was inspired by Barb, one of my teammates, and I absolutely love these. So this one here, it is on the cards, the large one, the Memory and More. It's the card base and the envelope, and this measures 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. I would not go any smaller than that to do one of those pieces. The reason is because you get a lot of element in that, and you need a little bit bigger than a regular size card. So we're going to do another one, and that I used the little boy. This time we're going to use the tractor. It's all done the same. This is a 5x7 frame. It's not framed yet, but it will get framed because I absolutely love this. And this I use the Place and Country Livin. But all the thing, it's all done the same. So when I say mask it like this, was masked like this, and then so on. So let's get started. I will not do the watercolor because the watercolor took me about an hour, to be honest. You can fuss or not fuss. Depends what you like. It's all how much time you're going to spend on the watercolor. Yep, my babies are here, right? So, but I'm going to share with you how to start it. So, and then you're just going to finish your watercolor. So for the card, we're going to do a card today. The easiest one, it's 5x7, of course, but we're going to do this one a little bit smaller, but it worked perfectly. So this, it's watercolor paper, measure 6 by 4 to go on the card base in the Memory and More. You get two sides of the watercolor paper, and that it's no right or wrong, it's personal choice. I love the rough side. The reason why I like the Stamparatus, it is because after you've done the watercolor, if you want to stamp back to get all that better detail, that's why the Stamparatus come in handy. In my case, I got wood stamped, and then I would have to use like the old-fashioned way with the Stampin' Magic, or I share a tip with that. Also, I'm going to put in this video. Okay. First thing you want to stamp, it is the object you want at the bottom. So in this case, and me, I'm going to put it right at the corner, right at the corner. Even if it's red rubber, I'm using my foam under. I like it, and that foam comes with the Stamparatus, and I like it. The reason why, it's because when it's watercolor paper, it gives a little bit more imprint. So, and we're going to start with, I'm going to use the tractor this time. So now I'm going to remove that from here because it's wood stamp. And I'm going to put my tractor at the bottom. So let's, and you want to make sure that you ink that very, very well with stays on. Of course, stays on. I'm going to put that about right here. Going to give a good impression. And when it comes to watercolor paper, I really press hard and hold it there and press hard because I want that bright. Voila, perfect. Now next step, that's where it come. You want to mask it, and it's very important to mask it because I thought, oh, I don't need to mask the little boy because it's low enough. Well, he get a little bit more air than he should because that's the grass, and my little goose here get a little bit of grass on top of her head. And so, yes, the puppies are here. If that bug you, I'm sorry. I don't like to put them in the cage just because. And they're too little right now to be loose in the house. So we're going to have to just put up with the little barking and so on. Okay, now we're going to push this right at the corner. Very important, right at the corner. Now I'm going to use two pieces of just copy paper here, and the reason is because that we're going to stamp off a bit, and I'm using stays on, and I don't want that to go on my mat, so I just put that there just to cover my mat. Now I'm going to take this is Peaceful Place. Oops, this is the Peaceful Place, and we are using the Heartland. Heartland, and also the truck was in the Country Living. I use a little bit in the 5x7, the big one, a little bit of those trees, just little. You can skip that. So now I'm going to put that right about here. So you see I'm going to go off a bit and it go on top of the tractor, and that's perfectly fine. Now lift this up. And we're gonna make sure it's in very well, very much so. And then we're gonna stamp this down. Now I get a dog just looking at me like, what is she doing? She's talking to herself. Well, they're gonna learn mamas do this. See, now it's not quite dark enough. So that's the beauty with the Stamparatus. I can come back. So make sure you ink that very well. And you see I put a stamp under. So maybe I should move a little bit more here. I put just a stamp case under. So then it's flat. It's easier to ink my stamp. Now make sure it's in the corner there. I'm going to restamp this. Et voila. Now I got that part. Now we're going to do the barn. And the barn also, it is, it's on my wood stamps. So it's going to go this way. Make sure it's inking ink. And then I'm going to put my barn. Oops, let me put... I should add my tractor maybe a little bit lower, but I think we're going to get it here. Oh yeah, it's going to fit perfectly fine. Here we go. Good impression. Okay, so you see it's not dark enough. So I'm going to come back. I'm going to tag that video because I would like to add it a bit darker. Now I'm going to remove this and voila. Is that awesome? So now the tip for watercolor, let me explain to you. So I'm going to pick an object and color it and let it dry. If you want to add it darker, then come back after it's dry. If not, it's just run the color over and over. And like for the sky or the grass, either one, what I've done, it's like I'm using my ink pad there and I just brush. See? And I did the same thing for the sky. So the sky, you want the top darker. So to get the top darker, let me get my blue. So I'm using balmy blue for the sky. So now let me make sure this is clean. And I'm going to mix it right there. Right there. And then I just go and oops, and mix my sky. And then what I'm going to do is let it dry, and then you can add more colors. But you see how I just brushed. So really it's more of a wash than watercolor that I did. But for anything you want darker, like the barn and that, let it dry. See how deep red it is? I color it, and then you want to keep someplace more light. Come back and add more color. This one here, I use a fine brush, and I use paint because the ink was not drying fast enough and it was not deep enough. So I use acrylic ink with a brush. And still, I think that was a bit too much time consuming, but it's a possibility. So I will share these with you on my blog at FrenchieStamps.com. The first one I'm going to share, it's going to be this one. I'm going to finish this one and share this one with the video. And in the video at the end, you're going to have two videos. You're going to have the one for the Stamparatus that you can use it with, like using it, this Stamp-A-Magic. And also you're going to have I did a card. I don't have it with me. I did a card how I color this. So that's going to help you to do the watercolor. So thank you so much for watching. And Barb, thank you so much for your inspiration. Have a lovely day, my friend. Bye-bye for now.